speaking of some of the worst human beings on the earth, we have this story about Al Gore. Fox News says Al Gore mocked as a clown for Davos rant on rain bombs, boiling oceans, and apocalyptic preacher. Jimmy Fila reacts to Gore's climate warnings on Fox and Friends. So you guys see this when Al Gore basically goes off saying that it was a really unhinged rant. I mean, bro, look, I criticized Alex Jones several years ago because he went on. It was an old thing. I remember seeing him on C-SPAN or something, and they were like, it's Alex Jones," and then he immediately just turns to the camera and goes, "People, listen, they're coming for you." And I'm
really
like,
good.
but I'm like, when I show that to my mom, they immediately just be like, "This guy's nuts." It's like, so you got to take the opportunity and approach people on their own terms. On his own show, I think he's great when he goes off. Al Gore wanting to warn people of 1 billion climate refugees, going, "The world's going to end. It's going to be raining bombs. The oceans are going to boil and our homes are going to sink." I'm like, okay, they crazy man, calm down, go to sleep. Yeah, let the adults talk.
He's talking. What he says is, if there's 1 billion migrants all of a sudden, that chaos will ensue, and he's right. But what he's saying is that there will be 1 billion migrants. So that's the thing where, what's the evidence, Al? You said 20 years ago that the world was ending in 10.
But that made 10 years to correct it.
The ice caps are going to be melting by
and they should be, because we're exiting an ice age.
Population was going to decline. It's actually gone up since he made these predictions.
We're still in an ice age, according to, I think it's Utah State. People, because of the flood 13,000 years ago, 12,000, when the meteors impacted North America and this giant global flood, It looks like we're not in an ice age because the ice melted, but we're still in the ice age, just having this preliminary amount of it melted. It's all going to melt. It's supposed to. That's why the Earth is pouring iron into itself through the river of blood in Antarctica. It's getting ready to fertilize for all this new fresh water that's coming into it. And we're pulling carbon out of the air. Dude, we got the graphene revolution on the horizon. This weirdo is shaking about too much horse poop on the ground in 1900.
And there are a lot of solutions to a lot of the larger ecological and pollution problems that the world is dealing with, except for the real solutions are just being pushed away. No one's really talking about those issues. But when it comes to taxing people, regulating people, controlling their life, micromanaging every aspect of them, putting them in little eco-friendly, sustainable neighborhoods that you can't leave and you can only walk and bike around 15 minutes anywhere in one direction. When it comes to that, they love that. And when it comes to Al Gore, he said in 2009 that the North Pole would be ice-free in the summer of 2013. I don't think that happened there, buddy. I think you were a little bit wrong. This guy's a grifter. This guy's a shill. And it's important to note here, he made $330 million off of his green investment firm ever since losing to George W. Bush. There's a lot of money in this grift. There's a lot of money in fear-mongering. And he knows this grift is being exposed, so he has to step it up. He has to make this emotional trauma, this larger psyop, as crazy as they can. So then Deutsche Bank, Bank of America, that were at Davos, they were also talking at the same time during this conference about, we need to do all of our business based on carbon emissions. We need to reboot capitalism. We need a social credit score based on carbon. We need to make sure everyone is reporting their own personal carbon. This is nothing to do with the environment. This is everything to do with the subjugation of the human race. And it's plain as day. Big money, big interest, big power trying to control you. Sorry, Absolutely. Tim, you had something to say.
I was going to say that what the left will come out and do is they'll say, no. Al Gore was right 20 years ago when he said it would be, ice-free by 2013. But then we took action on climate change, and it stopped it from happening. That actually proves Al Gore was right the whole time.
Yeah, I just would like to shout out, I do not know this person at all, but a book, if you have a child that you want to make aware of the climate scam, which you are absolutely correct about the subjugation of humanity. Such an easy book, very short read. It's called Inconvenient Facts, and it's written by Gregory Whitestone, and it will awake you to the fact that the IPCC is just a corrupt industry. Every single model that they ever have put out is wrong, and they rely on people not understanding just how old the Earth is, and that it goes through coldness. There was a medieval warming period, followed by a freeze. There's just, they're trying to actually make you think that weather is something to be fearful of, and that these things don't naturally happen, like forest fires. They just naturally happen. They've always happened since the beginning of time. Things get hot. I just came back from South Africa while we were there. Temperature hits in Africa, the bush burns, and it's a good thing that it burns. And so people, they rely on the ignorance of people that are widely emotional, which is why they start this sort of brainwash when you are in high school, when you are in middle school. There's always a different scare, and they've been wrong every time. So if you still believe that there is some element of truth to this, just go talk to people in different generations and tell them what their big scare was. I was generation global warming. We had to watch a sad movie of polar bears drowning, and we're told that there were going to be no polar bears left. In fact, polar bear population has gone up since. Inconvenient facts. Generation before us, they were told the exact opposite, that it was going to be global cooling. They were all going to freeze to death, and then they were like, oh, got that one wrong, so we're going to change it to global warming. There was the ozone layer. Remember the hole in the ozone layer? We were all going to die, and then oops, whoopsie, that didn't happen. There was acid rain scare, where kids were taught that the oceans were going to become so acidic, and it was going to rain from the sky. And now it looks like, guys, it's promising. We're moving on to rain bombs.
But
Candace, bundle up and buy a good umbrella. I'm going to start selling umbrella.
To be fair, on the ozone thing, we literally did ban the CFCs or whatever.
Yeah.
So the ozone thing,
Fluorocarbons.
Yeah. The ozone thing was like, hey, if we keep using these,
PFC, polyfluorocarbon, I think.
It was all in the deodorants and hairsprays, and then they
got
were
rid of
banned.
it.
And that's a nuanced argument to understand that. But they've been trying to use this kind of fear-mongering environmental grift
Yeah,
since the 50s.
And it's all about saying we need policies, we need the Paris Accord agreement. What we need to fix these things, if you're really scared, is more of your money.
Yeah, I was going to say, Candace, but you don't understand. If we give the government more money, the weather will be gooder.
Yeah,
right?
the weather will be gooder.
That's the basic principle that they work on, because there are actual things that we should address when it comes to this climate, when it comes to our environment, and when it comes to pollution, especially when it comes from the developing world, especially when it comes from China dumping all of the plastic that Canada shipped to them. There's also a lot of waste, a lot of destruction because of war, and there's so much hypocrisy at the World Economic Forum. Not just them flying on their private jets with record emissions, record number of jets, estimated 1,100 jets flying in there, but these are the same individuals that almost in the same breath are like, we need to make sure that there's not a peace deal with Ukraine and Russia. That's what the UN secretary said at Davos this year. And in the same breath, they're like, but we need to make sure the environment's good. One of the biggest polluters is, of course, the military-industrial complex, and they're cheering it on. They're calling for more war. They're trying to deny every kind of peace deal. They're trying to prolong it. And this is the worst thing that you could possibly be doing.
That's because they need more money.
Exactly. They need the grift to keep
it's
going.
It's all about money. Everything is always about money.
And it's the same people destroying the environment that are coming to you saying, just give us more money and we'll fix the environment. In reality, those solutions do not work and create more problems.
And they fly private when they talk about it.
Exactly.
It's very important to get on your private jet to discuss Ukraine and also climate, and everything doesn't make sense when it's put together. It doesn't matter because you don't pay attention, because you're supposed to be ignorant and not realize that literally all they want is money. So they will launch a new war and ruin the climate at the same time they're telling you that you've got to give them more money so they can save the climate. I mean, it's stunning to me. And people that get behind this initiatives over and over and over again, if you're really trying to discern what big con is, go find the people that back the military-industrial complex. Go find the people that put a little Ukraine flag and told you that this was your duty to go out and defend Ukraine, to ask no questions about President Zelensky, who shut down that speech. I find that to be absolutely ridiculous.
I got to give a shout out to DC Drano, who called Kevin McCarthy Kevin Ucarthy. Yeah, that was really good.
I have a.
Well, yeah, he would need like a pin.
Like a
pin and a flag.
Waving another country's flag. I mean, that to me, if you want a marker of what real big con is, go find out who supports Ukraine. And to this day is still backing Ukraine. From day one, I was like, this is so obviously the military-industrial complex. This makes no sense. We know it's a corrupt country. We know that it washes laundry. Don't believe me? Take it from the New York Times and Washington Post 5 years ago, and they highlighted all of his ties to oligarchs. We installed a new government, and we intentionally went to war because they launder our money. And of course, Hunter Biden and President, we have to in Afghanistan to get everybody home. Takes one breath. Tomorrow we're going to be in Ukraine. I mean, it's such obvious foolishness at this point, and that there are people that are in our movement pretending that they're, whether America first or that they care about, what's happening to this country, and then they support Ukraine. Like, goodbye, dude. Goodbye. How do you support this?
Yeah, and then there's FTX, right? That was working with the World Economic Forum. That was working with the Bank of Ukraine. That was laundering money, not only to, of course, high-level Democrats, but also Republicans. All those politicians right now, give back the people's money. I don't understand why our justice system is not intervening in the FTX scandal and saying, hey, Mr. Biden or Mr. Crenshaw or Mr. whoever, you got this money. This money was actually stolen from clients. Let's make sure we give it back. Why can't we have that conversation right now?
Did Crenshaw return it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Crenshaw actually got the money. I'm just naming a politician here. Yeah. So I don't know if it's Liz Cheney. I don't know who it is. But there was a fair amount of money, mostly given to Democrats, some to Republicans as well. Whoever got that money, it was all through shadowy, secret kind of black money that was given through different PACs and different organizations in order to kind of launder it specifically here. But there should be a national conversation right now being like, hey, people were robbed. Let's give their money back right now. That money is in the hands of corrupted politicians right now that were doing the bidding of corrupted organizations like FTX that the World Economic Forum endorsed and then deleted their endorsement of and tried to hid it away from the internet as they were promoting this larger Ponzi scam that stole people's money, which is absolutely insane.
I would advocate letting Sam Bankman-Fried go free if he can pay back the $10 billion, and I know he can.
If they let him go free, they'll kill him. He's have you been following how many crypto billionaires are
He's
just
a
kind of being
drugged up puppet.
killed?
Yeah.
It's just insane. I mean, it's insane. They're dropping like flies. I covered it on my show. I mean, the mysterious death of all of these crypto billionaire millionaires.
around
What about
the
that guy who tweeted like they're running an
so they were-
entire money laundering thing in Puerto Rico,
Epstein
right
Island
off of Epstein
2.0.
Island 2.0. It's a pedophile ring, blah 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 blah. And he said, and they're going to kill me. He literally
CIA
died
Yeah.
4
CIA
hours later, found in the ocean with full clothes on in his wallet. Guess he
Right.
just went for a swim and ended up with a bullet in the back of his head.
Exactly.
Like literally
It
within
happens.
4 hours.
Death by
It's
suicide.
insane. I
is
covered it
drowning?
all on my show. Like and he literally said they're going to kill me, and it's always the same. It's a mysterious drowning, and it's in Puerto Rico. He was in the Caribbean when this happened. 4 hours later, after his last tweet, he was dead, and he's one of five or six crypto billionaires that have died in the last 2 years under these unbelievably mysterious circumstances. I mean, if you haven't listened to that episode of my show, just to kind of shout myself out, it's actually the most popular episode that I've released recently. It's called "The Mysterious Death of Crypto Billionaires." It's insane. It's insane. And that is what we should be talking about. There's something
Exactly.
very dangerous going on, and to your credit, way more important than anything we're talking about with Steven Crowder. But that is,
It's around the world. It's everywhere.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.